morning, everybody. So today we're going to be looking at movement or action or a record of action in art. So you can have a few different types of movement in art. You can have compositional movement. So that is a path that the viewer's gaze is directed to follow because of the arrangement of elements in an artwork. So that means if you look at something and the picture kind of guides you, like your eyes want to follow a certain area, that is compositional movement. That's creating a sense of movement because it's making your eyes flow through the picture, right? Another kind of movement in art is a record of action. So you can do that in a couple different ways. So two ways you can do that. You've got a blur in a picture from someone's movement. So like right down here, you can see this one person is in focus and they're trying to kick a ball. And then because this person's moving and the camera's focused on them, everybody else is blurry from the motion, right? So that is a record of a real motion in real life, but it's just a recording of it. Another way of showing a record of action is the sequential actions that overlap. So that means this is one person right here in their golf swing. So you can kind of see the little golf club as it goes around. So if you think about it like here, let me make sure that shows really good. There, let's see. Okay, now I think you can see it. So you can see all the little, the golf club there. So the record of action, if you think about like a movie and how a movie takes a picture, then another picture, then another picture, then another picture in sequence, if you layered those up, that would be what this is. So they just took a series of pictures of the same person while they were doing their swing, and then they kind of just layered those pictures. So the last type of movement in art that we're going to talk about is kinetic. So kinetic just means actual movement. So it contains moving parts or has actual movement. So if you have a sculpture that has something that blows in the wind and causes it to physically move, then it's kinetic art and has kinetic movement. Now, we're not going to draw kinetic movement in here, but you can always look it up on, Google it and see what you find. There's some really amazing examples of artwork that has physical movement in it. So back up here at the top, we've got, like I said, movement or action or a record of action. So it comes in compositional and a record of action, right? So this first one, the compositional, you need to come up with your own example showing compositional movement. Now, I've showed you this example here, and you are going to create your own in here. So my recommendation is pick a shape, right? So now I think I'm going to do stars, and I'm going to have a series of stars, and I'm going to change the size of them. And I'm going to have them lead your eye through this area. Okay, so now because it gets bigger and smaller, usually your eye starts with something bigger and then it follows on to the smaller thing as long as it's kind of a continuous line. So that's my example. Now I added a curve. You can have yours go straight. You can go from one corner to another. You can use whatever kind of shape you want. It's up to you, right? As long as it's showing that compositional movement where it's causing a viewer's eyes to move. And now for the record of action, I'm going to go for this one, the sequential action, the overlapping action. So for me, I've decided I'm going to do a person waving. So the easiest way to represent a person is with a stick figure, right? Now I'm going to have mine where, he's got his hands on his hips and then he's going to be waving. So here's his arm to start with. Now to show that, action or sequence of actions, when you wave your hand, you're moving it back and forth, right? So you're going to want to have one where it's here and then stop, 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 right? So you want to show it all the way across. So I'm going to do like this. And that is going to represent the person waving. So that is a sequential action overlapped, right? Because the rest of the person's not moving, just that one part. And it's showing, it's a record of each of those little individual movements. All right, thanks everybody.